That's been awesome, all that information. So can you maybe give us an idea of what most people spend? Like, what does it cost to have a cake?
When we have people ring the store and they're after prices, particularly for budgeting purposes, we never give out direct prices.
Because you don't know?
Because we don't know. Okay. And quite often they haven't finalised their guest list or anything like that. They don't have a lot of detail. Right, okay. So what we do, we have starting prices. So our 2-tier cakes will start from $450, and then our 3-tier cakes, they will start from $5.95.
Okay.
And what we do with that is let them know these are our starting prices. So you can get a fairly basic cake for that, and then prices will go accordingly. So if you had one with lots and lots of detail, lots and lots of flowers, it will be then priced accordingly.
Oh, okay, right.
And to the amount of guests.
Okay, sure.
That you have.
So you could have your cake and then your kitchen cake as well, and all that'll be factored in.
Yes, and some people hire our stands as well. We've got beautiful silver stands. Okay, right. So all that is there. We then give them a list on delivery prices, right? Because the last thing you want to do on a wedding day is pick up cake.
Yeah, sure, okay. So how does it get delivered?
We deliver.
You guys take it up?
Absolutely, we can do that. If it's out of area, we quote accordingly. Sure. And anything above a 2-layer cake, so if you've got a 3-tier cake, a 4-tier cake, we will definitely recommend that we deliver it.
Sure. Okay.
Because the structuring of our cakes is really good. However, people get nervous, and if you don't get the right person driving your car,
it'll be catastrophe.
Absolutely, and we don't want that.
I just you said structure a couple of times today. So what do you mean by structure?
The cake needs to look beautiful on the outside, but the inside is so critical to get the look on the outside. And so for us, everything needs to be structured correctly on the inside. So the cakes are levelled, they are then skewered, and the wooden skewers that we use are at a certain height, so the next cake can sit on top of that and be nice and level.
So it's not actually the base cake that's supporting the next layer?
No, it's the skewers, and they will support the weight of the cake that's on top of it. So if you have a 3-tier cake, there will be a centre pole inside that cake, so each cake is on its own separate board. Right. The weight of those skewers is then done accordingly, and then the centre pole is to help with the structuring of the cake.
So I'm imagining that your home cook doesn't normally do that sort of stuff.
No.
We need to know about it.
No, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So for us, it's really important, and that has to get done. We don't skimp on anything like that. It's done to a set standard, and it's a standard that has worked for us for many years. So that's why we keep doing it.
Okay. And then, so say, I mean, there's probably people watching this that say maybe in the States or Europe, and obviously Central Coast people as well. If they're looking around for someone to do their cakes, what do they look for? How do they tell, say, you're the Sweetest Thing, are so much better than so-and-so down the road? How do they tell?
We get asked that, like sometimes, wow, am I paying that much for a cake? And that is a valid question. The answer to that is ingredients. We use real chocolate.
Okay. So some people don't use real chocolate?
That's right.
What do you use?
Cheap chocolate.
Right.
and so it affects the taste. Yeah.
Okay.
So we use everything's fresh ingredients, and our ganache. Like some 3-tier cakes can have like 4 kilos of chocolate in there, and things. So
don't sell into that one.
And but it's one day that you're eating all this chocolate. So these questions for people, and it's very valid for couples to want to know this, but even if in a 3-tier cake, you're using 5 cake boards in there. Your skewers, your dowels.
You can't reuse those.
You can't.
So they're gone. Okay.
Yeah, they're gone. They're out of there. We don't reuse any of that. Every client has everything.
Right. Okay.
Everything.
What can the actual couple ask to make sure they're getting the right thing, or what ingredients can they check that they're using?
They need to check that the ingredients they're using are good quality ingredients, because it does affect the taste of the cake.
Okay.
We actually
they can only check that by tasting the cake?
By tasting, and make sure that they like it and things like that. Okay. But we've actually had people come in and they've told us that somebody who was making cake from home, they reused their boards and things like that. We don't do any of that. That's that to me, if you're having a wedding cake, it's yours.
Yeah, sure.
You're not getting somebody's second-hand board and things like that. So
nice.
They need to know the structuring of the cake as well, to make sure that they know that it's all going to be stable for them and things like that. And one of the questions we get asked a lot of, and I think people should ask this question, how long before the wedding is the cake made and things like that. So our cakes last for 2 weeks.
Right.
So I will have them for a week, and they will have them for a week. Right. So that means that the process of our cakes will start on the Monday.
For a Saturday
So
wedding.
for the Saturday, yeah.
Right, okay.
If it's a Friday wedding, they'll still start on the Monday as well. And
Yeah.
then if it's a Sunday wedding, it will start on the Tuesday.
Right,
So
okay.
we have a schedule that we stick with. So we've got baking, we've got ganaching, icing, decorating, and all these processes actually need to dry out in between and things like that.
So you can't make a cake the day before for a
Absolutely not. And the cakes that we use, they're made with just such rich ingredients that they get better the longer they've sat there.
wedding. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
so
where you want that week.
The flavours become intense then.
Right.
So some cakes are best off leaving for a few days before
Okay.
you touch them. So
So you make the kitchen cake at the same time as you make the wedding cake?
no,
It all
no.
happens in
I'll
different
just do
schedule?
that the day before for a kitchen cake.
Okay,
That's fine to do that because the cake would have been made a couple of days beforehand,
Yep.
but the day before I would then just ganache it,
Okay.
get all that ready to go
Okay.
out for the wedding the next day.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
And that all gets delivered at the same time to the reception the day of the wedding?
that's right.
Okay.
That is exactly right. So we like to get all our cakes out before lunchtime. Some occasionally we have to go over because of requirements and
Sure.
things like that. But I find travelling in the cooler part of the day is much, much better in our